time for another installment of Oh My God.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, the Oh My God segment of the Jimmy Dore Show for this week. I'm sitting next to my two hilarious comedians from The Daily Show and a hilarious comedian, it's Steve Rosenfield. Hey Steve, how are you, buddy?
Good, Jimmy, how are you today?
Good, and I don't know if people, I've said this before, but you did take 7th place in the Robert De Niro lookalike contest. So.
Are you talking to me?
And next to him from Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's TV's Frank Conniff. Hi, Frank. How are you?
Hey, Jimmy. That's me.
That's right. Frank, this is your last in-person appearance on the Jimmy Dore Show for a little while.
I'm moving to New York this week to work on the John Fugelsang show on Current TV.
Oh, you know what? We're big fans of John Fugelsang. I like him very much, but I really hope your show crashes and burns, okay?
We all do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We all do. We really miss you. That's how much we miss you, Frank. We want you back. That's what I'm talking about.
And if I want to find you, I can go to schadenfreude.com.
No, we wish you all the best, Frank.
Oh, thank you.
You and John also, great guy, very funny. Okay, so looking forward to his show. So here is the Oh My God segment. We're talking about Pastor John Hagee. If you don't know who John Hagee is, he was on stage earlier this year with Rick Santorum where he said that if you don't like America the way it is, and you're a Muslim or you're something other than Christian, then get out. That was his message, which is just, I think, what the founding.
He's trying to help.
He's trying to help. So here he is sitting down with Glenn Beck, and they're talking about what really brought an end to the Civil War.
The thing that brought the Civil War, in my mind, to an end was that Abraham Lincoln called for a day of fasting and prayer for the whole nation. And it's recorded in the Washington Library of Congress, and it was approved by the Senate, and there was a specific day that he called all of the people of America to pray. We had 600,000 Americans were killed in the Civil War. We lost 23,000 in one day at Antietam. 53,000 were killed at Gettysburg. The nation was ripped apart by hatred as.
And somehow God still wanted people to feel a little hungry. He's like, I like all the death and carnage, but I'll stop it if you guys don't eat for a while. Really?
That bastard.
So he's saying what? That Yom Kippur ended the Civil War?
Yom Kippur, how would that?
Oh,
Because
because
Jews fast on Yom Kippur.
I might be getting my reference
Yes,
wrong
Frank, we're Irish. We should not. I don't know anything about that. I love the Jewish people. I'm not familiar with their customs. But
Like people hadn't suffered enough. They had to be hungry too.
Yes.
I mean, it makes no sense.
and praying.
I'm depressed, now I got a headache. People are dead.
Okay,
I want a sandwich.
They've got some. And really, and the Jewish people are suffering enough, especially here in Los Angeles. Like the Hasidic Jews, right? They have to wear 3-piece suits in the summer, and I don't know why. They're black. What kind of does God own a dry cleaners? Okay, it's all about suffering. So he's got a little bit more to say.
Brother fought brother and father fought son. But when this man, this godly man, this man whose speeches are laced with Bible verses, got down and asked our nation to pray, suddenly things began to happen that brought the Union together. And Robert E. Lee had the grace to surrender a battle that couldn't be won.
Okay, so let me just say this. So Lincoln issued that proclamation. The date was March 30th, 1863, and General Lee had the grace to surrender 2 years later.
He didn't have that much grace.
Only took 2 years of fasting and praying before God decided to end the war.
Well, I'm glad that I've never heard on the Glenn Beck show a military leader praised for being weak. Like
yes, right? Okay, so he had a little bit more to say about that. So Hagee comes back, and they're talking more about is this it? Yeah, no. This is David Barton. This is David Barton, who also appeared on Glenn Beck's program recently, and he's talking about Lincoln and his gifts. Ready?
Here's one of the famous ones, though. Here's Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, this is a day of prayer and fasting. He said, we've forgotten God. We've been so prosperous, so bountiful. We're so stuck on ourselves. We think we're so great, and we have to knock ourselves down and get a hold of God again. And so Lincoln had great spiritual insight at a time when the nation really was doing well.
Doing well?
When it was really doing well. This was issued on August 12th, 1861, just a few months after the start of the Civil War. Not exactly when the nation was doing well.
But compared
Not
to
well at
Iraq,
all.
compared to Iraq, it ended pretty quickly, though. I will say that. But you know what? In their defense, I will say that Lincoln is an example of why it's better to go to church than to the theater.
Safer. Much safer.
Yes, it was. So that's when America was doing well. A couple months after the start of the Civil War. That's when America was doing well. That, or maybe December 7th, 1941. Maybe those 2 days would be
Good times.
Good times. It was 41, right? Not 40. If it was 40, I'm in bad trouble.
Why would God let the war go on, and then, like, if people didn't pray, like, well, I'm waiting for you to pray. I mean, if you don't pray, I'm going to keep this war going.
Well, we live in the modern era, and this is an absolute fact that George W. Bush said that God told him to go into a war with Iraq.
Yes.
Bob Woodward said, "Did you ask advice from your father about going into Iraq?" And he said, "No, the Heavenly Father." So we literally had a chief executive who said that God consulted with him. And I think the point I'm making is just that God is not the guy to talk to about going into wars.
Lousy advice.
He's great at a lot of things, I'm sure, but just when to go into war is not one of his strong points.
Yes, they'd be better off talking to Geraldo Rivera or something. Get Dick Morris on the phone. And so that is. So we have one more. Let's play one more little thing from the. This is talking about if Romney wins, who should we thank if Romney wins?
Up on the set we have Washington praying, and I talked about that earlier this week.
Yeah.
That was the moment where somebody who watched that said we're on the wrong side because the man prays.
Potts. That's right.
Yeah, he know. I mean, you listen to a guy pray like that, we're on the wrong side.
That's right.
I know Mitt Romney wasn't your first choice, nor was he mine. He was my third. I am to the point to where, I think God is trying to make this so clear to us that if it happens, it's His finger.
Yeah.
Which finger?
It's God's finger.
I think I know the finger.
The fickle finger of fate. You bet your sweet Pippi.
And God said, "I pick Mitt Romney. Come here. Come here, Mitt Romney."
Just to mess with y'all.
It's the finger.
Good.
Right.
And yet, everybody I know who I consider a spiritual giant feels good. And
Everyone who Glenn Beck knows, who he considers a spiritual giant, feels good with Mitt Romney, who believes in a religion made up 150 years ago by a guy who wanted to have sex with his maid. Right? Isn't that what happened?
And the fact that
and no coffee, which there's no justification for. I'm sorry.
And Obama being a Christian plays no part in their thinking at all.
No.
He can't possibly be a Christian
No.
because he's black and he looks like a Muslim.
And he's got a Muslim son. He's got a name just like a terrorist. That guy. How could he be?
Plus, from a Republican point of view, the fact that Obama has a stable family and has been faithful to his wife his whole life, that really disqualifies him
They don't get it.
Well, I
don't
heard
get it.
that it's getting so ugly on the campaign trail that the Romney or their surrogates have released a rumor that Barack Obama has fathered a black child.
Wow, that's dynamite when that comes out.
Worked against McCain. Why not try it, huh?
This has been Oh My God.
Oh my God!